Welcome to another round of FNAF game theories by yours truly, the mistress of the mysterious, the one, the only, marked for darkness. One of the most enduring mysteries of FNAF 4 is who is the crying child? Today I will answer that with a theory of my own, and then I will give evidence for it. 4 games, 1 story. That was the clue that Scott Cawthon, creator of Five Nights at Freddy, left on his website during a famous live stream with MatPat, or the Game Theorist. If it's 1 story, then who is the central character? We know who the villain is, but who is the hero? Is there a hero? Who is the story about? In an interview, Scott Cawthon mentioned how no one had ever solved the real story of FNAF 4. Even to this day, the mystery remains unsolved. The biggest question that no one can answer is, who is the crying child? My theory is that the crying child is Balloon Boy. Now hold on. I know you might be skeptical, but hear me out. I do have evidence for this. Now bear with me for a moment. I think there is a lot of evidence that points to this, and I will go through it step by step. First, do you remember in the FNAF 3 minigame this scene? You play as Balloon Boy and fall through a background screen that matches the crying child's shirt in FNAF 4. Even more puzzling was this weird shape. What is it? I wondered that for the longest time, and then one day, I looked at it from a distance, and I saw it. It was like I know where I've seen that. Let's compare 2 screens. If you look at the shape as a face on the crying child, and then take that face and put it against the crying child's shirt, then you realize what the image is. It's the face of the crying child against the background of his shirt. Compare the 2. It looks like the crying child with tears falling from his eyes. Is this a hint that the Balloon Boy animatronic is really crying child brought back to life? After all, fans have noticed that Balloon Boy is the most human-like of the animatronics. This would make sense at the end of FNAF 4, where we hear what we assume is William Afton saying, "You are broken. I will put you back together." If he was going to make a special animatronic for his son, why not make one that resembled his kid as much as possible? Crying child became Balloon Boy. Still don't believe me? Well, hold on, there's more. Who is the one animatronic that Phone Guy never mentions in FNAF 2? As if the animatronic just showed up at the pizzeria. Why, it's Balloon Boy. At the end of the secret Midnight Motorist minigame in FNAF 6, you see William Afton finding a broken window in the FNAF 4 house. For evidence on this being the FNAF 4 house, please see the Game Theorist channel. I'll link in the comments below. This hints that something or someone escaped the night that William Afton killed Henry's daughter outside the FNAF 2 pizzeria, or the new Freddy Fazbear's. Something that headed for that place again. It is hinted throughout the game that throughout the games, the animatronics are drawn towards each other and can be called somehow. Balloon Boy escaped the FNAF 4 house that night that Henry's daughter died or was murdered, and found his way to the new Freddy Fazbear's. He is the animatronic that traps crying child's soul, or the youngest son of William Afton. That is why he is the most human-like. William Afton imprisoned his own son in that body after the boy's head was crunched in the jaws of the Golden Freddy animatronic. It was how William Afton learned how to imprison children's souls in the suits. I believe that he had been experimenting with animals, such as the dog, Henry's daughter's dog, but he realized he could do it to children when he succeeded in doing it to his own son. William didn't realize that Henry's daughter would be trapped in the puppet and work as a foil against him in the future. Another point is what Balloon Boy affects in FNAF 2. If Balloon Boy gets into your office area, he will affect your flashlight. Your flashlight stops working if he gets into your room. What do you survive with in FNAF 4? A flashlight. This can't be a coincidence. This suggests that Balloon Boy's hands can open and close around things. After all, the signs in Balloon disappear when he is in the vent and reappear when he's out. He can let go of things. He has hands that open and shut, almost like a Lego piece, if you can imagine that. His buttons change from black to silver, or white as some people think. I think they look silver, which matches the color of the crying child's shirt. Also, what does Balloon Boy sometimes do in FNAF 2 when he gets in your office area? He hides under the table. What does the crying child do in the FNAF 4 minigames? He hides under the table. Other characters even refer to him as that boy who always hides under the table, which is a habit of Balloon Boy. He is also afraid to enter the office if the player puts on the Freddy mask. Balloon Boy is afraid to enter the office if you look like Golden Freddy. Unlike the other animatronics who just think you're one of them, I suspect he doesn't enter because he is afraid of that mask. He is the boy that was bitten by the Golden Freddy, and the mask scares him. This is a clear reference to the identity of the child trapped in Balloon Boy. In the FNAF 4 game, the bed never looks slept in. It looks like a staged bedroom, and many of the things are placed there to remind the child of something, his real self. The room doesn't seem to have any electricity in it. It seems to be made to remind the boy of something. We also know that in Mangle's quest, in FNAF 3, this screen of a crying child knelt over something and the red that resembles blood is not the crying child, is not the FNAF 4 crying child. From the FNAF 6 minigame, Fruity Dash, we know that the crying child, this screen, is likely Henry's daughter weeping over the mangled corpse of a run-over dog. Her dog that was deliberately run over by William Afton in revenge against Henry. Then he took the mangled corpse of the dog away and used soul remnant technology to trap its soul in the Mangle's animatronic. Since that animatronic was brought to life with the soul of a mutilated corpse, it never seems to know how to put itself together. This crying child, I believe, is Henry's daughter, and not the same crying child that you see in this screen. The mini-games of FNAF 3 are depicting Henry's daughter, the story of Henry's daughter, and the story of the FNAF of William Afton's youngest son. After all, in another minigame, you see the stage of Golden Freddy and Golden Bonnie, which is how the crying child in FNAF 4 died. So this screen is depicting the blood-red background. It's Henry's daughter weeping over her murdered and mangled dog. Later, William lured her off with the promise that her dog wasn't dead, but revived. He killed her and her soul became trapped in the puppet. Look at the order of the minigames in FNAF 3. You start with BB's Air Adventure. The first child, the one bit by the Golden Freddy in FNAF 4, who may have been William Afton's youngest son. Next, Mangle's Quest. This was the dog of Henry's daughter who was purposely run over and murdered by William Afton. He was the next victim in this macabre tale. Third, Chica's Party. Remember, Henry's daughter was likely at a birthday party when she was killed. While she didn't go into Chica, this is likely the event she died at. This was likely a reference to Henry's daughter and where she died. Henry's daughter died at Chico's party. Another of the minigames show the stage of Golden Freddy and Golden Bonnie, or Spring Bonnie, which is where the crying child. I believe the FNAF 3 minigames are depicting the story, the interplay of the death of William Afton's youngest son and the death of Henry's daughter, and that is the story of the FNAF 3 minigames. Henry's daughter was affected by the death of her dog, who was mangled when he was run over by William Afton's car, and then brought back to life as Mangles. Then he used Mangle to lure her off. I'll make a later video about that. Shadow Bonnie is William Afton's soul remnant, or I think. He is the one who caused everything to glitch and go wrong. The story is of the death of William Afton's son, William Afton's youngest, crying child who became Balloon Boy, and Henry's daughter who became the puppet. Another thing to point out is that Balloon Boy was able to escape in the rain without malfunctioning. If you look at FNAF 6, it's heavily raining. That caused the puppet to malfunction, and yet, if my theory is true, Balloon Boy escaped through the rain, which makes sense. He doesn't seem to be like the other animatronics. His exterior is hard and perhaps very likely waterproof. This is my theory. Crying Child is Balloon Boy. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments below, and remember to give a thumbs up and let me know what you think. This has been another Five Nights at Freddy game theory. Thank you everyone for watching. See you next time.